Hi, this is Eric Gjovaag again. If you have forgotten who I am, I run the wonderful Wizard of Oz website at thewizardofoz.info. I have co-written Queen Anne and Oz. I have chaired OzCon International a couple times. I've run, oh, I said that. Yeah, anyway, I do lots of stuff, including read stories for you guys from Oziana. So today, it's from the 2007 issue, conveniently marked number 37 here. And it is As the Rainbow Follows the Rain by Jeff Rester. The soul would have no rainbow had the eyes no stars. John Vance Cheney from Tears. The brief thunder shower had left just enough moisture in the air for the light of the sun to dance forth in iridescent colors, covering the surrounding clouds in hues of otherworldly vibrance. The differing shades, bleeding and blending together, formed an arch that cut through fields of mist straight to the damp grass below. At the point of meeting between heaven and earth, a form emerged from the coalescing light, a shape cut from the very spectrum it had traversed. As the shifting shades of color stepped nimbly to the ground, pure heaven became corporeal, and the rainbow's daughter graced the earth with her presence once more. Polychrome's enraptured face reflected the glorious sun, just then peeking through the retreating gray clouds on the far horizon. Her splendorous gown, shining like paint on an artist's palette, undulated about her as she danced to and fro with abandon. The very air hummed with her laughter as she pirouetted on the tip of her gossamer slipper. Polychrome loved to dance, and nothing made her feel like dancing more than the first few moments after a gentle rain had passed. The warmth of the sun faded suddenly, and Polychrome looked around about her in wonder. What she had expected to see was a random cloud eclipsing the day star, but what met her sight was nothing of the sort. Between Polychrome and the warming rays of sunlight stood a tall young man leaning slightly on a large hollow stick. Greetings, daughter of the rainbow. I see you are enjoying the after effects of my handiwork. So it was you that brought down the lovely rain shower. You have my thanks, gentle rain sprite. Please don't be so formal. I am called Hyatol. And you are? I am called Polychrome, or Polly if you prefer. Polychrome brushed her blonde hair from where it had fallen into her eyes and took a closer look at the rain sprite. He was as curious as he was beautiful, his body made of the clearest rainwater with droplets of blue soaking through his skin and trickling down and covering the ground in moisture. Why do you dance here alone? I have often seen numerous of your sisters dancing on the rainbow's arch in the distant sky. I don't think I have ever seen any of you off on your own. Polychrome smiled winsomely and said, I am not like my other sisters. Actually, I'm quite unlike any members of my family. At least, that is what my mother has always told me. Your mother? Inquired the curious rain sprite. I shouldn't be surprised to discover that you have a mother, yet I have only known you and your sisters to travel with your father, the rainbow. Polychrome laughed merrily at Hyatol's puzzlement. Make no mistake, my mother is as surely the rainbow as is my father. My sisters and I inherited the colors of the sky from both our parents. With that, Polychrome softly moved her hand through the air, leaving a multi-hued ribbon trailing in its wake. So there are two rainbows then, and both are your parents? Hyatol could not suppress his inquisitive nature, and Polychrome smiling all the more at his questioning. My mother is not a rainbow as such. She is the personification of the rainbow, a daughter of the sea. Her name is Iris, and she comes from a very noble lineage. Perhaps you have heard of her? Heard of her? Why, who hasn't heard of the rainbow messenger of the Olympians? Hyatol could not hide the fact that he was thoroughly impressed. But now I am even more curious about your father. How did your mother marry a rainbow? My papa was once known as Bifrost, but that was ages ago, long before the Great Sundering. He has changed much since then. Your father was the rainbow bridge that led to the home of the Aesir beyond the heavens? Ayatol asked in genuine astonishment. But how could he have possibly survived the onslaught? When Papa was formed, it was with the most ancient of magics. He radiated the power of the old ones, and his most vibrant hue was the red of fire. This was the prime defense against the evil giants of fire and ice. to keep them at bay and far from the gates of the upper heights. When the foretold day of darkness finally dawned, the fire giants mounted the bridge to the heavens, and their evil made the rainbow collapse and break into myriad pieces. It was at this time that the mundane world was torn by the seams from the world of magic. Inside became outside, and vice versa. Yet here you stand, Hayatal declared as he waxed confused. I do not understand. Polychrome smiled again at the rain sprite's befuddlement. The repercussions of the war in heaven were felt worldwide. My mother was sent by her pantheon to try to see firsthand the damage that had been wrought. It was then my mother found what was left of my father. And she pulled the glittering pieces of Bifrost into herself and enfolded him into her shimmering wings and healed him. My father was reborn as the rainbow you now see arching through the skies of fairyland. Of course, they fell madly in love, and that is how I and my siblings became the progeny of the rainbow. Speaking of your sisters, how many do you have? Ayatal asked, as his curiosity once again overshadowed his sense of propriety. Let me see, Polychrome mused aloud. There's Cerise, Rosy, Magenta, Azure, Cerulean. Wait, interrupted Hayatal. You don't have to name them one by one. Surely you know how many sisters you have. Oh, they're countless, actually. That comes from my mother's side of the family. Her mother, my grandmother, was Electra, an Oceanid. She was one of about 3,000, give or take, a sea nymph. Hayatal stared at her speechless, his mind boggled by the concept. So you have 3,000 sisters? Who knows, laughed Polychrome, delighted. I just know it's me, my sisters, and my brother. You have a brother? Hayatal shook his head in disbelief. Yes, confessed Polychrome, her face beaming. He was born at the same time I was. That is, he and my younger sister. I thought you only had sisters, Hayatal stated, shaking his head in confusion. So how many brothers do you have? Or are they too many to count as well? Oh, only the one, Polychrome replied with a silvery laugh that rang through the air like sleigh bells. As I said, he was born right after me, and then my sister. We're triplets, of course. Mother was one of twins, so I suppose that comes from her side of the family as well. One sung among thousands of daughters, pondered Hayatal. Talk about lost in the crowd. It's not that way for Polyphemus. He is adored by us all. He was born very different from the rest of us. How so? Questioned the inquisitive sprite. He has no way with the spectrum. He cannot manifest the tints of the rainbow, nor can he dance upon one. He does not know the concept of colors. My brother Polyphemus was born blind, unlike the Cyclops he was named after. Hayatal was at a loss for words. I'm sorry, I did not mean to pry. His face, though as blue as the sky, burned with crimson. Oh, don't be, Polychrome said with a radiant smile. He is very happy and lives a wonderful life. Actually, he's a bit of a chatterbox. Mother chose his name well. He will go on and on about everything under the sun. But our younger sister, Polydori, well, she's as different from Polyphemus and me as night is from day. I never knew your family had so much hardship, Hayatal commented sympathetically. Every one of you is always all smiles and dances. Mother always said that just as surely as the rains come, the rainbow must always follow, and she is right in more ways than one. If my father hadn't been injured, my parents would have never met, and my brother is the happiest person I know, despite what most would consider a sad and empty life. I can't imagine my life without him. None of us can. Without a little sadness, how would we really know what true happiness really is? You are truly wise beyond your years, Polly. I would love to meet this family of yours someday. Perhaps one day, Hayatal. But you must excuse me. I hear Papa calling me home. With that, the rainbow's daughter twirled about and grabbed the edge of her ethereal gown with her soft fingers. As she flung the cloth out from her, it shot straight up into the sky and joined once more with the arching road of light. Polychrome began to lose substance and fade into the varying shades of the visible spectrum. Farewell, friend Hayatal. Thank you for the beautiful shower, Polychrome called, as the rainbow receded into the beclouded dome of blue above the rain sprite. Goodbye to you, too, Polly, called Hayatal, as he lifted his rain stick, the seeds of which began pattering on its hollow insides, sounding all the more like gentle raindrops. I will make my next rain shower just for you. And that was the story.